No,
internet troubles or some shit.
all right, we started again.
Cool.
Ended almost immediately. And
Yeah.
given an actual about that.
Sick.
Yeah, I don't know. But we're back. We're here to chat about the Hob. But it's been quite a while since we've been here chatting. I guess one could argue as of late, we've been on a few podcasts and whatnot talking about the new 28 Kickstarter, including this last week, Eric, you and I were talking with Dave Taylor on um his live stream.
Build, paint, and play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's something people could check out. But yeah, so I guess it's exciting. I'm excited to say that the Kickstarter for the collected version of articles from the first 6 issues of 28 is on Kickstarter now, and it's gonna be Kickstarter's gonna be up for a few more days now. So if you're at all interested in a hardbound collection of articles, various hobbyists over the essentially the whole span of the 28 magazine, look into that.
Or it's
Yeah.
basic. It's almost 7 years, right?
Yeah, I
Maybe
believe
Yeah.
it is
so.
7 years.
It's a little hard to believe. I don't feel like it's been that long. But I guess if I would think back to have been they added and editing things for
Yeah, that's fair.
and I
Yeah, no, I
guess
I
think
mean, it's
it's
good quality.
yeah. I guess I'm excited that one of the articles, Eric, that you wrote about our Vastarian setting is going to be in the collected volume, and it's been that we've made some small edits to it as well and updated some of the photos with some of the newer photos, Eric, you at our Vastarian event from late last year, so a little bit
yeah,
different.
no, it's still largely the same article from volume 6, like the one that featured John Blanche as the cover artist, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's been updated a little bit. Yeah, primarily with some additional photos because I feel since that was written, I have fallen deeper into the photography rabbit hole and have tried to be more particular and ambitious with photography. So,
Yeah, no, that's not exciting. With photography and stuff, where are you headed next, Eric? Are there any particular things that you're trying to pay more attention
um,
to, or
I guess I've been trying to slowly do more with creative lighting because most of the
okay,
stuff I've done up to this point is just like try to have all the miniatures and stuff well lit with kind of daylight balanced, like 5,600 Kelvin or so. Um, and that's been good to get just good, clear photos, particularly of like if we've painted a miniature and want to showcase that. So I've done primarily that, but I've started to try to do more with just using different LED lights to um, add more atmosphere and such, and not always just make them, just well
Like
daylight
super well
lit
lit.
scene. Like, and so, um, and I guess part of it was based on some suggestions of someone we had met at Nemo or Under the Dice Fest last year, goes by Void Halation on Instagram, and they've helped with a bunch of lighting for that last year and the Brothers of Prometheum event in particular.
yeah,
But chatting with them about lighting, they suggested I could look into some little tiny cube Ulanzi lights
Hmm.
that I don't know, they're pretty inexpensive, like maybe $30 or something, and you can like um change their colors and such, and they've been fun. They come with a bunch of little attachments, like there's a little diffuser here, as well as kind of cute. It has also has it comes with like a little barn door setup, like so really seems like
Oh, that's
a, you know, the characteristic studio movie lights where they have these on their big panels to
yeah, that's
direct light. And the first sort of stuff that I did when kind of trying to use some of this and use some of their suggestions is actually gonna be it's a photo of the one red Church of the Red Athenaeum heavy stubber guy. It's actually going to be in the article in the one church piece of terrain that Bill Floyd tried to use some blue lighting to kind of make it look like there's like moonlight shining through the stained glass windows of the church.
yeah, it
And
looks
so,
good.
yeah, I've been trying to do a bit more with that. I would also like to try to uh, play around with Flash a little bit more and use that, like, just get more familiar with it. Um, which, I mean, I used the Flash in a macro diffuser for a lot of the shots at the Vestarian event, which helped particularly because a lot of the photos I was taking was with a 105 millimeter macro lens, and being a macro lens and like trying to focus relatively close to things, the depth of field is often very thin, so you have to really increase the aperture to get more of a depth of field to have things in focus, which really uh, makes you need a lot more light. So
Yeah.
doing more with flash was helpful in a big macro diffuser to like soften that, even though the flash was directly on the camera. But I think it helped. But I think just the more I try to explore those things in different settings, the better. Because I don't know, there's always a lot to learn, and uh, it's fun though. And I guess towards that end, the other thing, like I'd still like to just keep using shooting more film. Um, I have a notion I would like to try to play just another Vastarian related game on the church board, Bill's church board again, and try to document the whole thing using strictly like film photography, maybe just all black and white film photography, um, and just see if I can do it and how it turns out.
Yeah, no, we ought to.
Yeah.
That's I feel is a good idea. We try and think. Guess
Towards that end, I've been trying to shoot some different black and white film stocks to try to determine which of sort of the common ones I like the best. So I don't know. Hopefully that will help and I can settle on something.
love the like the different film stocks. How easy it is, like the different stocks. How easy like, variants and stuff. Presumably,
Um, It's not that bad. Like you can order the stuff online fairly easily. There's a nice uh, camera store in Baltimore that sells a lot of the stuff as well. And even the place in Baltimore I get film developed, Full Circle Art Studio, they sell some as well. So it's not too hard. Like provided it's common film. Like a lot of people, sadly, Fujifilm has kind of stopped making a lot of their films, and they had some of various slide films, so color positive films that people really like Provia and so forth. And like they're just don't seem to be making much of it anymore. So like I have through B&H Photo, I have a restock alert. Like seems every now and again they will get some of it in stock, and
Mm-hmm.
within like 5 hours or something, it's all sold out. And it's like $30 or so a roll. Like so it's very expensive.
Well, related to that, like a standard like roll of film that you can still buy at like Guess or something. Roughly how much is that?
So most of the stuff you can buy at CVS is, at least that I've seen, are 3 packs of Fujifilm C200, like, and that stuff is a newer or quote unquote a newer film stock from Fujifilm, but from all the like profiles and stuff on it, it seems that it's basically just Kodak Gold 200 because Kodak Gold makes it for them in America.
Oh,
It's no longer a film stock that Fujifilm makes, but that it's maybe like $30 for 3 rolls
so
ish, something to that extent. 20 to $30. But most like I'm gonna say professional film stocks like Portra 400 or Ektar 100, things like that are about 14, $15 a roll. Whereas, but some of the black and white ones, like Ilford HP5, is kind of one of the standard ones that a lot of people like. Which, Greg, you're actually shooting a roll of that now, I believe. It's maybe
That
like
is what.
$8 or $9 a roll. It's ISO 400, and it's people like it a lot because it's pretty versatile and it's pretty inexpensive. Whereas the Kodak black and white films like Tri-X and what's the other one? T-Max, they're like maybe 13 or $14 a roll. Yep, yep, Ilford HP5. And I I like Ilford HP5 has been pretty good. I kind of feel the stuff I've shot though, it's a little bit has a bit more grain than I like, maybe.
uh,
A bit of that, there's a chance some of that is just not like perfectly nailing the exposure. Because if you underexpose stuff on film, particularly color negative film, like it's not more of the grain can kind of come out. But I'm not sure, and that's part of why I'm trying some other stuff. There's also Ilford, maybe it's FP4 100. It's another Ilford stock that's a bit different that I'm trying now on my one FM2N to compare it to Ilford's other HP5 Plus just to see how they are and if I like one more than the other. Admittedly, a 100 ISO speed is a bit less versatile, but I don't know. Just have to try things. Lots to learn and experiment with. But actually, here's a print of a photo that I recently took. This is a digital photo though, when I was experimenting with some of the lighting and stuff.
oh,
And this was taken with my Fujifilm digital camera, and it's actually on Instagram, but and it well, it was with a digital, not Fujifilm, digital Nikon ZF. It was with an adapted manual focus Nikon lens that I also use on some of my film cameras. So
thanks for stopping by, brief.
yeah, thanks for the support.
It's a cool looking photo.
I
Base frames
guess
often don't look that cool.
you can see it's a bit because that was on a luster paper,
Wait, Mr.
it
Pink says,
was a bit
"Hey, is that
shiny.
photo on the blog film? I missed." Oh, I think that's that one in
This
particular,
one is this one's a digital one,
and I think
but with
the
an old manual focus.
one on stream, he could also be at the veterinarian one have on Kickstarter post you made, Eric.
Oh, that's not film. That's also digital. But this is actually a print of the same photo, but on like a kind of a slightly textured fine art photo rag paper. And so it's a matte paper, so you don't see the same amount of reflections on it as the other one.
Mr. Pink says my
But
mic's cutting out. That's probably because I'm hosting.
mm, but yeah, I guess I've recently gotten kind of a larger photo printer, and I've been playing around with trying to print some of my photos, trying different types of paper, and I kind of think I like matte papers the best because they don't have like the glare and so forth. But being a matte paper, the blacks and such aren't quite as deep and inky as if it's on a gloss or semi-gloss paper. But they still I think look quite good. And this particular printer, the Epson ET8550, it's primarily a pigment ink printer, but it does have both a dye black and a pigment black. And when printing on these kind of art matte papers, it uses a combination of both to print the blacks. And because of it, the blacks are very nice, even though it is matte. Like they're still very deep and black. But so yeah, maybe Mr. Pink, I'll have to print you something and send it up there. Maybe one of the Vastarian photos.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. Neat seeing some of the made, Eric. They're very nice. And it's interesting to think about the different print qualities and stuff. I've certainly been more interested in that since I started printing blog holiday card stuff, and I don't feel I've ever been thrilled with the quality I achieved.
Yeah, I've been happy with the stuff I've gotten here, although part of that is just being able to actually get profiles for the paper and so forth, which all the printers I've used up to this point don't have stuff like that. So like that helps a lot. And also just the fact that I've been spending time trying to learn more about it as well helps too. Just
Actually, if you're still here, Mr. Pink, is the postal strike done? Now stuff to you?
that's true.
Oh. But I guess related to the different types of paper and such, I don't think I had ever really considered too much the notion that different printers would have profiles for paper types, which I guess I should have thought of that because in the little printing that I've done, it becomes pretty apparent. Oh, wait. Oh, we were just asking, is the postal strike in Canada still going on, or mailing stuff there better now? But yeah, printing anything on paper, depending on the paper type and whatnot, you get very varying quality.
No, yeah, and well, because of that, like every printer for every paper really needs to have its own profile made because each printer has a different set of inks, whether they're dye or pigment inks. each paper absorbs that ink in a different way, and also each paper is a different level of like brightness, or some are warmer, some are cooler, all those things. So you really need to print out a sheet that has a ton of different colors of known properties, such that then you can scan them with like a spectrophotometer and create a profile such that when you print it, the colors are true. And for a lot of cheaper office style printers and things of that nature, they just companies don't make those profiles. And unless you're going to try to do it yourself, it's just not. But this, a lot of companies have started to, and just different people online have made some themselves. And it being an EcoTank printer where you don't use cartridges, the ink is a lot cheaper, so it's easier to kind of experiment and try different things, different profiles, different settings, and things like that.
Is that the printer there peeking out behind you, Eric?
Yeah, it's back there, but
Yeah, it's nice.
and I just pulled out the rear paper feed. It has like a tray in the bottom for just regular kind of copy paper that it'll pull and bend around to print, but higher quality papers are thicker and stuff, so there's like a rear paper feed there, that so it doesn't have to bend as much when it goes through the printer. You can also take the duplex unit off the back and feed paper in straight in the rear, so it doesn't get bent at all, such that if you'd want to feed like I don't know, like a piece of wood or something through it,
Oh,
you could do
damn.
that too. But or like a metal sheet or whatnot.
That's
I
it.
mean, all that stuff you'd still probably need to have something that was like has a coating or something designed such that it can
Pick up the.
actually take the inks or the pigment inks or the dye inks well. But
Yeah. That's.
yeah, it's been fun to experiment with. I have yet to try any like really large prints. It can print up to 13 by 19 inches, but I haven't actually got paper that size, and like I feel quickly I would run out of space to put those prints.
That's true.
But maybe at some point. Or I mean, I know I will at some point.
Do you have any looking at our community page? I know it's been a while since
We can look at some
had,
of the
and
stuff.
I guess looks like soon they're going to be a whole slew of newer plastic deathcore models, right?
Yeah, I feel perhaps these had been released a bit ago in like just an army box, and maybe this is, or maybe it was just recently they did that, and now it's going to be a pre-order for the individual boxes. I'm not sure. Regardless, yeah, they have some new stuff. I guess kind of in the vein of the Kill Team Deathcore like regular models, trying to update some of the Forge World miniatures in plastic, and
They fall a
they
little
didn't.
flat.
Yeah, they didn't knock them out of the park.
Like, one of the things that I find is very strange, like they merged the combat engineers with the grenadiers, because like at least in the Forge World range, combat engineers, they did have heavier armor, but it was distinctly different from the armor that the grenadiers had, and they also had different cool looking helmets. These new combat engineers were like grenadiers, and everything about them's worse. They have these, I guess those are like combat shotguns or something. I almost feel the thing that their weapons are all off. I think the thing that I like the least, like they really tried to change the poses around, which I guess is good. They have new poses compared to the plastic, like normal quad. But a lot of the poses over the top and comical, like the run.
They're running to Warp Tour.
Yeah.
Coming back this year, I think.
Someone wants
They're
it.
trying to get there.
Mr. Pink mentioned something that maybe your mic settings are set up that when it detects your voice, then it turns on and turns off when you're not talking. And I think there's some truth to that. We had a while back kind of talked it. It almost seemed like that was like some noise gating thing that perhaps because it's a condenser microphone rather than a what's the other type? Like a directional
Yeah.
well, I don't know, a microphone like this, such that it picks up more of the ambient room noise and such, being a condenser microphone. I'm not sure.
I don't think that's true, Mike, but I don't know. I guess I need to experiment more.
Yeah, a dynamic microphone. I don't know how I forgot about that, but I also wonder if it could just be your internet being a bit shaky. Who knows? Oh, yeah, Warp Tour. Everyone wants to run to Warp Tour. Did they revived that recently, maybe? Is that true? Warp Tour?
I
Do you
think
know?
there's a thing where it's happening again, maybe this year. Like a few years ago, I think they revived it for some shows or something.
God, so sick.
Yeah.
So sick. Yeah, no, as you said, Adam, their weapons are bad. Like, and I don't know, it's so weird because these have like these models are like the closest from a lot of the newer deathcore models to having poses where it looks like, oh, they're running or they're moving and not just squatting. But they're just so much leg in these models. Like with their huge armored greaves and stuff, they just look very unnatural and awkward. And
The
also, I don't understand how Games Workshop for like these settings, the 40K setting is all about skulls. Like skulls are so cool, but they have an inability to make cool looking skull masks. Like I just don't see how it's even possible that no one can design a skull mask that looks cool.
yeah. So I think probably the worst offenders of the new range are the plastic Rough Riders.
They're pretty rough.
Yeah. Because the Forge World ones were amazing. They were always amazing. These, they really tried for more of a dynamic, exciting pose and stuff, and to me, they just really fall flat. The horses look awkward and weird. Like they have all the elements of the original ones, but there's nothing about them that are cool. I think as a whole, they just look off. And it's a shame. I'm sure you can't buy the 4-year-old ones anymore. They even made a new commander.
Almost certainly no.
They made a new commander on the horse as well that also looks laughably bad compared to the special one where they made like a commissar on the horse that you could buy at least for a little while.
Kind of hate how, I mean, maybe this is just war horses are just always gigantic, but,
Yeah, they
and that's maybe
kind
just
of.
a thing in history and so forth, but God, are the horses huge. Like every horse GW makes now is fucking gigantic. Whereas like their older ones, like the plastic horse models that they would use for most of their mounted things and just make new, like they weren't so big. But these are, whew.
Well, look at the commander here riding that horse. The horse has a like an armored plate underneath the neck, like a stylized imperial eagle there. Like, boy, does that look rough.
Like really cool, you mean?
Awesome, I mean. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel
It
all the
seems like they
models are
just had no
fine.
ideas.
The command squad might be the best. Because they have like a new like grenadier pose with the armored legs. Looks to be like walking forward and they're standing pretty tall. They look pretty good.
I just yeah, you're right. That does actually look okay. I just dislike how the command squads now, like, it just everything is like so hyper, like it's like a hyperbole. It's just like, yep, there's gonna be a doctor, so like just give him the biggest set of like Erlenmeyer flasks, or I guess they're test tubes, or I don't know, whatever. Like it's just so unsubtle.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say the whole range could describe it as okay.
But it lacks anything particularly cool.
Yeah, guys, Warp Tour. There's a Washington D.C., Long Beach, California, and Orlando, Florida date or set of dates for this year. Um, Looking at some of the bands announced, is there anything here that I care about? No.
Oh, Eric, this is changing subject a lot. Releasing Dan Abnett's book Double Eagle about like the fighter pilots and stuff. Did you read that, Eric?
Yeah, it's cool. It was good.
Yeah, well, there's a new book that Dan Abnett wrote that takes place
Oh shit!
after Double Eagle.
Shit, he's talked about writing this book for like over a decade, I feel.
Like, that's cool. I don't really
Is
remember
it?
Double Eagle well.
Yeah, I don't really either. And I kind of think I actually reread it like a couple years ago.
Oh.
Looking at the current cover for Double Eagle, I mean, it's not awful, but like, it's not cool.
The old one, which was just some of the Forge World photo, a Forge World photo of the old resin Thunderbolt, was better.
This one's still honestly
Yep.
better than your standard cover for Forge World.
Yeah, like it's not just like shitty don't that's a new cover. That's actually kind of cool. I was looking at what's on Amazon on the Kindle. What you're seeing there is that's better.
Is
Yeah, I think
Black
it's.
Library still a thing, or did they like change it to be enfolded into Games Workshop websites such that you can't
I don't know.
buy or see anything? It looks like it is. Huh, that kind of surprises me.
Maybe I'll try and read that book.
Is it out or is it like coming out in three
On
months?
Sunday or something. So soon, I
Huh,
holy shit.
that's fun. I'll read that.
Yeah, that honestly excites me. Odd. That's kind of cool.
Surprising no one, even though the Black Library does have a website, it is terrible. Surprising absolutely no one. Like you can't easily search for anything. Makes me wonder is like there been any progress with like Pariah and any other bands, other series? Probably not, but
I wouldn't know because it,
well, it seems like almost impossible to find because Games Workshop website. I guess you just have to look on Wiki or something. Their website is so bad.
there are probably a lot of other newer models that could that we could make like lambast, but
Actually, this is funny. Reading the thing about 2 decades after the events of Double Eagle, a veteran pilot from the Palatine Corps is forced out of retirement. It's like it's probably been 2 decades since Double Eagle was written.
yeah, that's true. Good.
Oh my God, it it was released in 2004,
Oh
so
shit.
June 2004. So it's over. Uh, Amazing.
That's great. That's great.
That is great. Yeah, the only thing to be excited about Games Workshop is they're not their models. Also, if you type in Interceptor City in Black Library's website, nothing comes up. That that
That's
seems about
funny.
right. Because
So I guess we could talk briefly about the notion that they're also releasing a series of Eldar, including some like reworked aspect, like warriors, mixed lords, and stuff.
Mr.
do
Pink
we have
asks us, what do we think the rumor image is? I don't even know what. I don't know what that is. Like what that's
Oh,
in reference
they.
to.
Oh, that just looks like one of the lances from the Death Corps or some shit. I don't look at these. Do people get excited by the rumor pictures and stuff? How badly the cabling.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so far. I feel so far removed from Games Workshop.
Me too. I
I don't know if I've ever felt so detached from Games Workshop as I do now.
I'm in a Discord group with a friend of mine from work and some of their Warhammer buddies that they all somewhat recently got into it. So they're like excited about actually playing Warhammer 40,000. And they were talking about maybe there's a new kill team something coming out where there's maybe like a subscription thing with like these magazines that they send that have some models along with them, and maybe it's monthly or something,
Oh,
and you can get a
subscription
premium
used to
version,
be a
and they
thing like that. For it was only in the UK and it was for 40K, and they would like give you models. So maybe they're doing it with Kill Team now.
that's what it. I mean, I didn't even fully or carefully read what they were talking about with this, but didn't seem like something to be excited about.
Yeah, I don't. Hmm. They could have done that. I mean, in some sense, doing anything with Kill Team seems more exciting than 40K, but
Yeah. So
I don't.
I'll be honest. I think these
Yeah.
new plastic Phoenix boards are cool. They look good. And they maybe I
I
wouldn't
like.
say they're perfect, but they take they're a very nice kind of the. I really like the Swooping Hawk one. Like they're cool.
The Swooping Hawk ones are probably the best because they're the only ones that aren't just have their legs spread wide like they're
Yeah,
in a power metal band or something playing bass.
I agree. Their weapons are big, but that very much fine with the model. Um, the Fire Dragon one, I think their pose is good. They are like power posing it a little bit, but
I mean, at least these models are like a nice update. There's a lot of homage to the original models that are kind of wonky in their own way, but also there's a nostalgic quality to them that I like.
the one thing that I will say though for Azure, that's the like the Fire Dragon one. They really the
Isn't it
gauntlet
Fusion or
mounted weapons look so much worse compared to the
yeah, the Dire Avenger one? Yeah, they
Yeah,
do
not
look a lot.
fire.
Yeah, because I feel that they had to put the magazines for the Shuriken pistols or whatever.
Why are they
Shuriken.
up on the tactical rock?
they're always
That's a that's an important element of all Eldar aspect warriors, are to be including like the Dark Eldar sort of related ones like Lilith and so forth. They need to be on those big rocks so you know they're Eldar. Otherwise, you might not know. Can't really tell. But yeah, as I was saying, like I don't understand for they're like the Shuriken catapult pistols. Like they didn't need to put those magazines up there. Like people can tell what that is. Like yeah, they I'm glad they exist. I guess to me, I wish they didn't. I'm glad they tried to stick quite close to the designs, but they didn't have to stick with the poses. Like every single one of Jess Goodwin's Eldar models has their legs spread wide, and they did it again. Like I would say 95% of Eldar models all look like that. I guess that's just a large there must be something in the physiology of Eldar that's never portrayed this way in any of the artwork or talked about in the literature and so forth. But all like they just don't stand up. They're always spreading their legs wide like that. Maybe there's something about their hips that they just can't move their legs like humans do. There must be something because it's just so ubiquitous. And that's just kind of weird. Like, what a weird thing to kind of like write into their lore, but not actually write it into it. Think it's just something that like the the designers as well as just the general like the artistic directors like they just crave this. This is as much a part of Warhammer 40,000 as skulls are. Like they just need that pose.
Um, moving on from the Eldor, it looks like there's also maybe this is a Horus Heresy, like Skitarii type model, like a little laser lance and a shield. I like them.
I think they look cool. They do look like a little overwrought in detail, but I think
Hear
depending
me
on how
out.
you painted it and stuff,
Hear me out. But
it
that
would.
helmet, that would be a cool enforcer helmet.
Yeah, I think it would be. I kind of hate how they every single Adeptus Mechanicus model now has a servo skull like thing attached to a cable that's like directly attached to the model.
That adds
Like I
extra.
think they
No.
I think it's like honestly even become like a thing. Like it's not just that that's a servo skull that's supposed to appear like it's floating around. Like they're actually literally attached to their backpacks and shit. Thanks, Mr. Pink.
Yeah, no, thank you. Nice to
Like
have
they've
you here.
written that into the lore. I mean, I can't quite tell from these photos because they only have one angle and they just zoom in on different parts, but
Yeah,
or maybe it's another angle, but basically just one angle.
basically.
Is it a resin model? Does it
I'm
say?
pretty sure.
Sure it is. It's funny as I've grown older, like it's like resin. I kind of dislike resin, but at least it's not 3D printed, so that's something. At least Games Workshop hasn't resorted to like just 3D printing models and sending them to you. I mean, they still probably 3D print most of the masters and then make molds with them, but that's a small something.
Um,
Because you're actually working on kind of assembling and preparing to paint that one Trench Crusade combat biologist for that's being given out through the 28 collected Kickstarter, right? And that's 3D printed, and it's not the best to work with, right?
I like the quality's honestly rather good. The model looks very nice. The print quality is good, but I guess I haven't experimented too much with models, but pretty much all of Imperial it pretty brittle, hard to.
I guess with how stuff's printed, I mean, you obviously have to remove the innumerable gates and such, but they don't have mold lines, right?
That's correct.
So that's something nice. But I guess if the print isn't amazing and you can kind of see print lines and stuff, that like you probably can't really sand that away, right? Because of
You
how
could.
the material
Well,
is.
I think you could try, but if it's really everywhere and the model's pretty heavily detailed, like you're not gonna be. This
Yeah,
this print that I have here quite good, and you.
that's nice.
The one thing that I will say, like the models, they so many gates. I could really easily see you priming the model, starting to paint the model, and then realize that missed one or partially missed one, and it's
Well, just don't paint it then. Just don't paint it. If you didn't see it while trimming it, it's not an important area of the model, Adam.
yeah, I guess all those are arguments. Good argument.
Want to do that. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're working on it. They're more of a. If I saw one of the printed versions, it's a bit more of like a true scale type of thing, right? They're not as bulbous and big as GW models, right?
Yeah, I would say that their feet
I
are
mean, I
pretty
guess
small. Their
I guess with
hands.
that said, maybe some of the other Crusade models are different just because, they've been designed by different sculptors and so forth. But in general, I think the ones that I've seen look pretty good. And hell, there's even another Westphalia Miniatures maybe has a Kickstarter going now, right? I think
Yeah, the red.
for some additional Trench Crusade miniatures.
It actually. Bad.
Trench Crusade is getting pretty big, right? Like a lot of people are excited about it. I kind of wonder though, once, the rule books and all that stuff is out and so forth, like they've been delivered and such, is it something that could be sold at stores really if like everything's 3D printed? I wonder.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was thinking about too. Like, will they be able to? Are they hoping that they'll be able to
Yeah.
continue to make this profitable or something, or not really?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really. Well, actually, for this Westphalia thing, are they just the digitals? Because like they're quite good at like make very nice casts of resin
Yeah,
miniatures.
unfortunately, it's just prints, and even if you back back it for stuff, I think they just send you.
Oof, that's. I mean, I guess I can understand like what a great thing like if you've already created miniatures or paid sculptors or whatever, like there's just nothing that you or very little that you have to do provided you have like a secure server and can release the STLs. Like it has to be so easy to run a Kickstarter like this compared to the woes of having to print and ship books and things of that nature. And I guess interesting because looking at that, you could get like different weapons and so forth. And I guess it must be fairly easy to like I'm gonna say digitally kit bash stuff with different softwares that maybe even the additional weapons and stuff. I mean, I guess it probably doesn't work that well, but perhaps since they were designed with these models in mind, like you could actually change the weapons on miniatures. I'm not entirely sure. But
Yeah,
Eric from Eric's Hobby Workshop, he recently had a Trench Crusade video that kind of just summarizes what Trench Crusade is, as well as shows some of the models he's been working on. And in it, he talks about doing digital kit bashes and so forth. And he kind of showed some of his process, which was kind of fun to see. Actually, for this Kickstarter, is one of them like a heretic priest like thing? The model looks a lot like the Morkborg priest, or the design is reminiscent to me, and I guess it's also a Westphalia miniature.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I
don't know.
could see potentially backing this to just buy a few models. It's an interesting Kickstarter. Like, they almost like they're wanting you to back all of the back everything, and like I don't. think you can do add-ons. Probably
How much
about
has it made so far?
260,000.
Dang,
Yeah, they have to
that's
get the
good.
300,000 to unlock the Lawrence of Arabia inspired model. That's honestly the
Hmm.
model I'm most interested. They're cool. The gunslinger lieutenant. They're very. They have the automatic pistol.
You know, the stuff looks nice. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting now that 3D printing has gotten so like ubiquitous now that wow, does it make it much more feasible, like create a miniature game and create like a Kickstarter or something like this, or even just the larger campaign and not have to deal with the miniatures. I mean, obviously you have to get them sculpted and things of that nature, but
Yeah.
not having to have that huge infrastructure, creating molds and things. And if someone just already has a 3D printer and use it like Eric from Eric's Hobby Workshop, like he just like, "Oh, I'll print some stuff I found or have that kind of look like fit this general World War II-ish theme and just paint them for it, like
Yeah.
even before the Kickstarter happened." Like there's a lot of flexibility in that way too.
Greg, you had mentioned there's also a kind of a cool Kickstarter for by Jeffrey Allen recently. Up, put up.
I think the Kickstarter went up today,
Okay.
but he does a lot of fairly evocative imagery for book covers and stuff. And
Yeah.
I think Flask, which is a book publisher, like an art book publisher, had published some of his things before. I mean, I had backed one of his older Kickstarters. It's like kind of like a graphic novel thing, but very light on like story per se. It was more of a like not much of a plot or a very simple one. Very evocative imagery. I very much like his art style. Last evening, I went to see the film Presence. It's a Steven Soderbergh film. Um, it's kind of a ghost story. It was like a ghost film, and it was shot from like the perspective of the ghost.
Oh.
So, like, the whole thing is you're seeing what you're to take as the view of the actual ghost.
Yeah,
Which
okay.
it was shot pretty well. Interesting idea. Bad dialogue, bad characters. Like there was so little subtlety in all of it.
Yeah.
Um, like it was kind of about like strained family relationships, and the one daughter and the father were very clearly the likable characters, and they were likable, but the wife and the son, pieces of shit. Like it wasn't like, oh, we'll make a somewhat like somebody that you like, but oh, they do some things that maybe you don't feel good about, and like these are complicated characters. Like, nah, they're just fucking pieces of shit, and
Okay.
like doing awful things. Yeah, I don't know. It was lazy, bad, like cool, some fairly cool ideas, bad writing,
Yeah, okay.
Bad writing. That's
and
what.
it was released last year, like to like I guess the film circuit, like maybe at Sundance or something, but for whatever reason only went to theaters this year. Um yeah, it wasn't great.
Hmm.
That's what.
Okay.
It wasn't really, I don't know that I would say it was a horror movie. Like it wasn't scary per se. That some of it was unsettling, but what was unsettling about it wasn't anything pertaining to the ghosts. It's just like, holy fuck, are these terrible people?
Horrible.
You think that
Yeah,
was the
like
intent, or just more lazy writing?
um, I think some of the intent was that yes, the
Okay.
unsettling part of it is like the capacity of humans for
Mm.
such
Yeah, okay.
awfulness.
That seems to make sense.
But I feel it could have been more interesting and more subtle. Like Steven Soderbergh has directed lots of different movies. He directed some of the Magic Mike films, and like I had went with a friend, and my joke about that was, yeah, the writing in this is about as subtle as the Magic Mike. Um, yeah, it
Yeah,
was
okay.
not great. I mean, it wasn't bad. Like as I said, pretty good imagery, like interesting ideas. The acting was okay, but yeah, I don't know, not great.
I recently watched the movie Speed. Have any of you seen Speed?
A while
No, but
ago.
Keanu's in that, right?
It
It was
Is
a
it
while
bad?
ago.
uh it's not bad. I think it's overall I would say it was pretty good, but I would say the whole ending, the whole 30 minute scene was completely unnecessary. Like the majority of takes place on a bus. If the bus goes below 50 miles an hour, it'll explode.
Did
And
you see that makes me think of that The Simpsons thing where Homer's talking about the movie and doesn't remember the movie's name?
I don't remember
I
that.
And
don't.
it's like he can't remember the name and he just keeps saying speed and they have to keep their speed above such and such and he just keeps saying the name of the film, but he's like, I just saw this movie about I
Okay.
don't know, it's kind of funny.
I I
I recently watched The Fog. Have you seen The Fog?
I don't think so.
No, there's something in the fog. That's an Orange Goblin song
Oh,
about
you
the
should
fucking
watch it.
movie.
It's kind of good but bad, its own way. It's like it's based on a Stephen King thing, so like
Yeah.
as everything is. But it's pretty good. It's kind of has some elements of Lovecraftian, has some elements of Lovecraftian tension building up, but then some body horror stuff. The ending maybe sucks a bit. It's like a bit overdone and like make sure you know that the characters are distraught. It's like, yeah, er, but overall, it was pretty good and pretty. Well, it has some kind of Lord of the Flies elements
Yeah. Okay.
with like
Did you
people how
watch?
they're dealing with the terror of
Did you watch Into the Mouth of Madness?
no.
It was another Carpenter film with Sam Neill. And like
Yeah.
everybody says, like, oh, it's a Lovecraftian film, so Lovecraftian, and it's like it's Lovecraftian just because they're like some monster and like tentacle shit. Like I don't know, it didn't feel at all Lovecraftian or like the laziest, like somebody that doesn't actually read
Oh, I
Lovecraft.
didn't realize the
But
fog was actually.
it was a Carpenter film, right?
Let me. Did I? Ah, shit. So I was wrong. So I watched The Mist.
Oh
Oh,
shit.
I've seen that. Yeah, yeah,
I was not
yeah.
talking about the fog. I was talking about The Mist.
Yeah, I watched that like a year ago. It
Okay,
is
so
pretty good.
it was
About
pretty good.
a family, or it's not a family, it's just the guy and his daughter that get caught in the supermarket when all
It's
this
just
fog
because
descends
he did
upon the
have a wife, but she didn't go to the store after the storm, so she just
oh yeah.
died, I guess.
Yeah. All this fog descends on the town and all these people are trapped in the supermarket and then it's like, can we go outside? And people go outside and don't back and then you learn that there's something in that mist.
All lost.
And
At first, when you
happened.
first kind of see what the monster could be, it seems like it's a tentacle monster. I mean, I guess spoilers, but um, at first, like, it's kind of dumb, but then the tentacles are so horrifying and they go so hard on it that it's okay. And then it kind of turns out it's not really tentacles, but
Um, the ending to it isn't the ending to the Stephen King book. They like went bleaker, like more
okay.
bleak.
I think they it went bleak and then but then really revved it up
Yeah,
in
like
like
it
a
would
dumb
have
way.
been
Like,
better if it just ended with the
uh,
bleak thing and then
yeah.
like, oh my god, like what a twist. Like,
Well, because it just seemed so dumb. Like that. Yeah, he made a hard choice, and that sucks. But then, like, literally
30
within
seconds
seconds
after he
of
made the
making the
choice,
hard
it's like,
choice, like, oh, actually, the mist is gone now, and
like maybe that was the wrong choice
yeah, I just
without like spoiling it more than we have. But
yeah, spoiling it pretty hard. But like, I don't know. It just like is so like, yeah, we understand it was a hard choice they made. Like, and like he maybe even says something like, "What was it for?" It's like, yeah, we get it.
but yeah, yeah. I watched it like a year ago. A coworker of mine said it was one of their favorites.
And
One of
it
your
Um,
had
favorites.
some pretty good sort of.
no, but like it's worth seeing. I feel
Becca
like
said like
maybe the
we should watch this as a way to um detach from the horrible world we're living in now. And what's his name? Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the Commander Holt, that actor is in it. I mean, sadly he has passed away recently, but he's in it. And like that was kind of weird because like he sort of separates from the group, but then they never even find what happened to him. I mean, obviously he died because everyone died, but was sort of like undeveloped, or like they started to develop a thing and then they just didn't continue. I don't know. It was interesting, but yeah, I think it was good. It was like it has an element of kind of the campy horror type stuff, but not
It
in like
doesn't
a
lean. It doesn't lean too hard into the camp.
no.
Well, on the Stephen King kick, are you gonna read The Monkey?
I don't know what that is.
Osgood Perkins, the dude who directed Longlegs, he
Mm,
has another movie coming out next month, I think,
mm,
that is an adaptation of a Stephen King short story called The Monkey, which is about some character who's a father now. Like in his youth, they found this like wind up monkey toy that would splash
yeah.
symbols, and like whenever it did that, like it seemed like somebody nearby died, and the main character tried to get rid of it, and then it came back later in his life, and the problem still. Or that's my understanding of the basic synopsis of the story. I did not read it. But Osgood Perkins directed a film of it. It's coming out soon. It looks pretty fucking over the top, and I wonder if not more over the top than the story. I don't know. You watch the trailer and like, oh, somebody's head is on fire, or all these wild ways of people dying that are wild enough that like clearly they're kind of trying to be funny in as much as you can make people dying funny, but it was clearly done with some tongue-in-cheek humor.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
But the monkey, maybe Hive Scum Phil would be into that, cause what was maybe even a Stephen King story about somebody who like has a pet monkey and the monkey's trying to kill him. What was that called? Um, he
Michael
talked
Crichton's
about
last book he wrote before he died, and then shit was ghost written, called Next. They had like a monkey companion that I don't remember liking that much, but
Monkey Shines is the name of the movie.
sick.
Or the one that I was fuck it, is it the same? It also has a monkey with oh, that was Monkey Shines is directed by George Romero. The plot follows a young athlete who becomes a paralyzed quadriplegic and develops a bond with an intelligent service monkey who becomes homicidal after she's injected with an experimental serum of human brain tissue. Okay, so that yeah.
So maybe we follow the stream. Well, I probably need to.
Yeah, that's probably fine.
Well, it's been real, everybody. I'm glad we were able to chat again. But yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Keep on enjoying the hobby. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Till next time. For now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks